Assalamu alaikum. Can you guys hear me well? Can you hear me well? Or should I change to it's the same mic? Hello. I like him. Hello. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. And thanks to the organizers, they pushed me to the end of the day to make sure that I sort of like revive a little bit of the energy back into you and take you back to the subject that we all are here for. So, we are here to talk about food safety. That's the topic of the day, that's the topic of the event, and that is the bread and butter of a lot of professionals who they have come here from all over Saudi Arabia and if not internationally to talk about it, to ponder upon it, and to mutually interact with each other and share the best practices. But what's the end result? Is that not what we do all the time at the work? Is that not what we always think about? So it's something about creating an environment in which your job and my job becomes easier. So my presentation basically is not going to talk about any data. It is not going to talk about any technical reviews. It's mostly going to be talking about human being. We're all Muslims. And when it was asked that what is the subject of our Holy Quran, the message of Almighty Allah to us, the answer was human being, al-insan. So today, with little bit of the knowledge and experience that I have gathered in 26 years of my working into this field, I would like to relate the food safety with the human being and to create a community and a culture in which we can sleep easily at night when our millions and billions of Riyadh's businesses are at work with our people. So before I start, just to give a little background of myself, I am Chief Quality, Food Safety and Sustainability Officer with National Aquaculture Group, which is predominantly part of Abraji Group in Saudi Arabia, second largest integrated aquaculture company in the world with 100,000 tons of fisheries products going to 26 countries. Why I am with them? In my background, I have worked for Acadian Sea Plants Limited as Global Director of Quality and Commercialization with ASL Canada. Before that, I was with PepsiCo International as the Regional Head of Quality and New Product Innovations based in Thailand. I have worked for CFIA, which is the SFDS equivalent in Canada, as Chief of National Food Safety Risk Profiling. So we'll talk about some risks here. And I have worked for Cargill, which is $128 billion company, partnered with Arasco as well. Dr. is here, Dr. Sheikh is here. So I worked for them in Florida for 8 years as Divisional Head of Quality and Food Safety. Other than that, I have worked with McDonald's Dairies and started from Nestle in Pakistan. I sit on 2 national boards of Canada, CSFST, which is Canadian Institute of Food Science and Technology, I'm their board member, and also the Food and Beverage Processors of Canada, I'm their board as well. I have been honored to work as a consultant and advisor for MEWA, which is Ministry of Environment, Water and Agriculture in Saudi Arabia. So before we start, can you please take 2 questions down? And at the end of my presentation, we'll talk about those questions. Have you ever taken a flight in an aeroplane? Have you ever taken a flight in an aeroplane? And if answer is yes, please write down, what do you really care? What do you really care when you are booking a flight? That's one. Second question. Have Have you ordered pizza for your loved ones, family, friends, your children? Have you ever ordered pizza online to be delivered at your home? If yes, write down 2 things most important that you really care about that delivery coming to your home. And we will talk about these 2 questions at the end of my presentation. Again, you've taken a flight. What do you really care when you book a flight? Second, you order pizza, right? What do you really care when it comes to your home? So, we talked about human being. How does the evaluation of human really starts? Where it comes from? So how humans learn? They learn from intuition, even like a wahi. They learn from something happens from inside, a thought. They learn something. They come to know something from a news, or they come to know something from a desire that they have inside. The second thing, what human being is doing, if they believe in that information, if they really bought into it, if they really wanted to do something about it, then they will go to the second thing, which is action. Everything until now, what we have done in the quality and food safety systems, and my 26 years, we have stopped right here. Everything, and I challenge you guys, that whatever we do revolves around our actions. Honest? Yes, because we want compliance. We want to make sure that regulations, norms, food safety norms are all covered. We had an information, we went to action and put it into action, and that becomes our success. But human being science and psychology works a bit different than that. So food safety culture, which is becoming a norm, a regulation even for most of the food communities now, and a lot of food standards, comes a little bit different than that. It asks for, if your actions become routine, then it's started to create a culture there. It started to create a community. Routine. For example, if I believe that I should pray 5 times a day, every day I pray 5 times a day, and I'll keep praying it. If it is with a strong belief, then it becomes a routine for me, and I will really follow it. Once that routine has become really powerful, and you are habitual of doing that thing, it becomes your habit. Now you're really not pushing yourself. To make a routine, human being pushes itself. When it becomes a habit, it becomes a hobby for them. Something that they don't really feel that they're doing. For example, taking your car in the evening time and going to play somewhere. You will really not need any GPS to go there, because it's every day you go there, you are bought into it, it's your desire to do it, it becomes routine for you, and now it's your habit. Once your habit is compact, it starts reflecting in your character. So this is where the character building starts for only one human being. That character, if it is consistent over a long period of time, it creates a culture. And that culture reflects a community. So if all of us we came here on the name of food safety today, we need to look into ourselves, question ourselves. Are we one culture? Are we one community? Are we really behaving the same way that after actions, everything is in routine, habits, character, and a culture? I think this is too much to ask. Not easy to say, especially with our teams also. When you are sleeping at home, somebody is running the show, but 200 million or 2 billion solely are business for you. Just think about that person. Has that person achieved to the level of creating a culture for you? So that's the question we need to ask you. Where is food safety culture coming from? So food safety culture basically, it's that when your values are shared, like I gave you an example from the first slide, when it becomes an overall picture of mindset for everyone. Everyone believes, everyone works, everyone becomes habitual, and everyone works like a community. Then we are a food safety culture, according to JFSI. So what food safety culture is not? Food safety culture is not food safety program. If you think food safety culture is food safety program, then we are at the number 2 level of the psychology of human being, only at the action, only following the SOP. Right there. This is where we stand at food safety program. That's an action. That's an SOP that we follow. But being habits, characters, and community is asking for something more than food safety program. So food safety culture is when people will do all the right things about food safety when nobody is looking at them. They will have a desire to make sure that they create a food which is better for them, better for their community, and better for their people. Who are the key players in bringing the food safety culture into our world? We have FDA, GFSI, which is Global Food Safety Initiative, most of you know, Codex Alimentarius, the grandfather of all the food systems, coming from WHO and FAO, and European Commission. These are the 4 key players to give the name of the food safety culture into the regulation. But I really share with you that very soon it will be part of all the governmental authorities, all the regulatory norms, and also in all the quality food safety systems standards. You will have no other choice but to prove that your company is working with a food safety culture. So here we are. This is how FDA looked at it. They said that we are not going to have any programs written, we're not going to have any SOP written, we're not going to have any guidelines, but we'll put into actions through the media, through the education. So this is how FDA looked at it. GFSI looked at it from 5 different areas of dimensions: vision and mission, which talks about the business to be structured that way, people and their training, consistency and accountability within the system, adaptability, when people adapt in the system and then start doing it, and hazard and risk awareness. So these are the structures of a vision or roadmap that GFSI, Global Food Safety Initiative, has put together. An example of GFSI 5 dimension, I just give a couple of those. Under the vision, number of certification being adapted, internal communication, food safety continuous improvement in other people, number of non-performances are decided from the same supplier to make sure whether they are following or not, SOPs, adaptability, event of the market withdrawals, and hazards are the number of non-performances working to behavior that put the food safety at risk. So these are the examples. European Commission also went through the awareness, leadership, training, consistency, and continual training and improvements. So here is, we again go back to the human being. We all know from human psychology that when we hear something new, we become defensive first. Sort of like, maybe I'm going to do it or not. So Kubler-Ross Greek cycle talks about emotional curve. So it starts from a desire, then not anger but also deep thoughts to why this is being implemented. But then this is where your mind starts thinking to say, yeah, maybe I can do that, maybe there will be benefit, And then depression, because you are overwhelmed with information and you are overwhelmed with what you have to do. And then you accept it. So when you accept it, your learning curve will start. So, if we have a food safety system in which people are not adapting to what you're asking to them right away, it's not a big deal. It's not unnatural. The theory of innovations, diffusion of innovation says only 2.5% in the world only 2.5% people are innovators. They will think something new and then ask people to work with it. Early adapters, 13.5%, to say, yes, it sounds like a good idea. Then early majority, bunch of people coming to the idea, 34%, late majority, 34%, and then laggards like me, maybe 18% or 16%. Okay? So, when you will be implementing food safety, you may come across the people that they are immoral characters as well. We have, in my 26 years of career, I have heard, which I can share here, about food safety, about SOPs, about a checklist that we always give to the supervisor to say, can you please implement in your area? The things that food safety and quality has here, again I said, it's very difficult to share. It's a route in which a human being being strike against their reputation. Nobody wants to write it. Nobody wants to follow an SOP. So you have people who are very negative about it. Then you have people who depend on other people to say, okay, whatever you say, I'll do. Then there are people who are doubters, always thinking negative about to say, this is not going to work. It has never worked. Okay? Then people are who are proactive compliers, who will listen and then understand the risk and importance and encourage other people to come. Then leaders, food safety leaders, who they have the hat and flag to raise for the food safety and really are sincere about it. Another model of maturity of your system. How do people react? First reacting, then responding, then reinforcing, then performing really, then mastering it. So they go from reactive to defensive to active to consistently being active and then proactive. This is where we want all of our food safety leaders to be into the proactive mode. Because if they are not proactive, nobody at your system will follow you. So all the things that we talk about all the day and do ponder upon and do discuss with each other day in and day out would be useless if your people, yourself, are not proactively involved in food safety. How do you implement it? Small systematic approach, process focused, which we all talked about this morning, quality systems, Mars. We really thank them to share their quality management systems with us. So those quality management systems basically become the basis of the people-focused action. They turn into culture. So we need to now make sure process and people have to go hand in hand. If a culture has to be evident in your organization, if your people have a disconnect with the form, with the SOPs, with the norms that you have put in your system, or any regulatory requirement, people are disconnecting with that, you do not have a culture there. You have only actions that are followed heartedly or unheartedly. So how do we go about must-win battles? These are MWPs of creating a food safety culture in your system. So set the expectations, educate the people, then communicate it, then establish goal and measurements, then be ready for the consequences of food safety behaviors. Consequences is a word which is part of the guidance here. I take it as the benefits and implication of not having food safety. Benefits of having it, implications of not having it. So when you go to leadership, here comes, you want to create a food safety culture, you want the people to be trained, you want to invest in them, you want them to be a part of the thinking and proactive thinking that you have. Where do you will go? You will go to the top leadership, you will ask for money, you will ask for resources, you will tell them what are the benefits. You know, this is the normal thing, you will tell the ROI of return investments for a quality system. Now, why taking the acronym and technical terminologies? Yeah, they don't really understand. I don't know what is here. Okay. So, food safety measurements. Few examples of how do we measure food safety culture. Again, it is process focused and people focused. So, process is the same. We just need to bring the human being factor back into it. All these systems that I have highlighted are already present in a standard FMCG company or standard quality management system company. What are those? You got to have CIs there. Look at their CIs. Skills development, best practices, internal and external audits, CAPA. CAPA is the corrective action preventive actions, trending. Food safety KPIs, are they present or not? EMPs, standards regulations, surveys. This might be something new into the food safety side. SPC lean tools, online reviews. Again, we are coming back to the new era of food safety. Customer solutions and satisfaction. Then media, artificial intelligence. You know, this is something that, like Dr. Nasir from Jamia Abdul, she was also telling that all the surveys and things that they have done, it involved media. So, to the next stage, we're going into the artificial intelligence to take the human being behaviors and predict something which they may do in the future. This is the food safety culture will take your people. Here is an example of a food safety survey. Survey of understanding whether people are following a food safety culture or not. And I love the one in there. Do I have the power to stop a line if I see a food safety culture? And I work for Nestle, for Cargill, for Pepsi Cola International. And I can very much relate to what Mars is doing. What I'm just trying to say, at this time, this empowerment has not been given. And if it is given, it is partial. If it is given, it has a lot of question and implication and financial repercussion on the backside. That I'm saying with an authority here. Okay? That we need to give to our worker. That we need to question ourselves and not to waste each other time and ask whether we are ready to give that empowerment to a worker. When they see a food safety infraction or they see a hazard going to the product, do they have the authority to turn off the switch? If they don't have that authority, we need to create that. People will say, and I will say, my worker does not know the whole thing of the food safety system. I can rework it, I can do this, I can dispose it, I can do blah, 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 blah. But the worker should know it then. If I know as the director of quality, then why the supervisor doesn't know? The day my supervisor will start knowing at the knowledge I know about the business, that's the day food safety culture will have its first breakthrough. That we need to go back with. That's the message we need to go back. Then observations during your audits, check for some clues. Now, next 3 slides I will give you those clues. If you are doing a food safety culture audit, or a regulatory agency is coming to do the food safety culture audit on you, they will be looking for those things. These are some of the tools for media and AI that can be helpful. Here is something very important. So, for the top management, you are looking for, are they capable or not? Are they ethically putting the food safety into picture now? Have they given the money, people, and resources for that? So check when you are going to audit your top management. Do they know anything about quality management system or food safety systems? Go to your CEOs, go to your MDs, go to the business general managers and ask them, do they know anything about GNP? Can they explain it to them? If they can't, there's a problem. Do they know anything about companies QMS and FSM? Do they welcome unannounced audits? I have seen even at my level, or group level, the face going little weird when we say SFDA or MEWA, somebody is coming on an unannounced audit. Why are we not ready for that audits? Why is that a routine for us? Why is it a problem for the top management? Okay, for the middle management, that was top management. For the middle management, they ensure that no non-conforming products go to the customer. What we need to check with them is today, are they really proud to work in the company? Is the spirit and supporting the culture within that BU? And employees are valued and honored for the work that they do. And that honor and respect will come from when they are aware, when they are trained, given the empowerment to them. At the floor level, Are people just ticking off a checklist, or they really know that why they are doing this work? Are they avoiding self-audits or self-awareness sessions? Are they avoiding questions? Or they are trying to just ride on the clock and hope? Most of the people who they are low paid, they are like they have more resources and regions. But if they are low paid, they are thinking about their clock. The only thing they think is what is the time and how much overtime they can have. We need to come across those barriers. Start respecting our floor team. This is just a checklist I put there, and maybe if the presentations are shared, hopefully people will take some notes from this one. These are the areas in which a third-party auditor will come and look for food safety compliance. So it's a marathon. I'll take this one more. It's a marathon. It's not a 100-meter sprint. Food safety culture, as in the first slide I said, takes a long time. For example, smoking was allowed in the trains and buses in North America in 1989. I went to study in 1994. People were still smoking all over our campus, the University of Georgia. They were smoking everywhere. Okay? And people would sit in a taxi, share the taxi, and 3 people would be smoking and 2 will be just trying to close their nose. In 2013, after almost 25 years, the ban in the public smoking started. So take a breath. I would request that go back to, if you are under a GFSI system, if you are under a food safety culture audit that you might comply to, go and start looking at your people, start doing some surveys to say what is the baseline. Start with little step by step, and hopefully, inshallah, we'll get there in one. Thank you very much.